Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good morning, everyone. It seems like you'll be seeing me regularly on Friday morning for this regular chat, BL Casual Chat or BLCC. So we've got the branding name there. Today I'm going to talk about how can you upgrade yourself to be a level 2 and also on how we can fix your impression on whether or not we have achieved level 2, because often that we thought that we are doing flipped classroom, we are doing all these lesson plans, etc., but yet we did not actually update our LMS properly. So what we are going to see today, part of the objectives of this casual chat is to again entice you with what enhancing learning is, the definition according to the BL specifications at UNITEN, and what are the factors to consider when we want to integrate the technology into our classroom. Hence, what are the things required actually when we want to catch the attention, grab the motivations from the students in our class, and also the limitations of the technology and tools. Perhaps we are not acquainted with the adoption of these technologies, hence we are going to take extra time to learn. So what are the things that we need to consider? And also I'm going to give you some tips on how to prepare your Brighton, and it's going to be foolproof to become at enhanced learning or be a level 2. Then you're going to be confidently saying and declare your BL level at BL level 2, because I'm going to share with you some of our academics did not really have this BL level 2 enhanced learning definition, can we say, understood it fully. So today, this is a repetition actually, but more on how we are going to strategize to upgrade ourselves to level 2. We might be doing all these lectures as usual. We put all the materials on Brighton, and we still did not manage to understand very well on the concept of enhanced learning. So let's start with the overview of the enhanced learning with technology. So let's have a look here. Okay, before we do that, I'm going to just bring your attention to what the BL Level 2 enhanced learning is all about. So before reaching enhanced learning, we have to understand that we need to accomplish level 1. At UNITEN, ever since 2021, it is mandatory for everyone to reach BL level 2 by means of having all the slides, all the course outlines, tutorial, lab sheets, for example, to those who are performing lab sections. This one would be to accomplish first the BL level 1, then upgrade yourself to put in all the materials with BL tools and technology to help the students to learn. So it's not going to be that, can I say, the impression of coming to your course page is blank. That's one thing for sure. That one has already been ironed out. Number two would be to visit your course page and give you the impression saying that you are ready with all your teaching materials and activities and you're eligible to upgrade yourself to level 2. But how are you going to do that would be by having to use the functions on Brighton. So I'm going to talk about this later. I'm using my course page as example. And then these particular functions on Brighton, this is something that is going to be per se saying it's not going to replace again. As we are moving towards the substitute blended learning, for the previous past series of the BL Casual Chat, I've touched on the substitute blended learning. It's a different concept. For substitute blended learning, it allows you to select some of the classes so that you're going to perform it and conduct it online. So that is the SBL or substitute blended learning. But when we talk about BL level 2, we are talking about the initiative already there since 2016, meaning you are supposed to use your LMS Brighton, put in all your course materials, find out whether you can use the functions on Brighton. So this would be the already installed, or it comes with Brighton. It's a package actually for the activity types. I'm going to go through that. And bear in mind, there'll be no reduction of face-to-face time, meaning it's just going to complement. So the idea here is to complement. So BL Level 2 will be supporting your teaching and learning activities in the classroom, but at the same time, will be complementing whatever that you missed in the class, or perhaps you want the students to venture themselves in. So, meaning if it were to be the substitute blended learning principles, we are saying it's going to take some of their time, student learning time, to follow your instructions on Brighton. Based on these principles on the handbook, okay, so this will be the handbook, you need to be able to conduct at least 3 activities on Brighton. So there are leeways to do things. One would be use the existing activity type on Brighton, and later on you're going to install or you're going to bring in whatever activities coming from a different websites. For example, you're going to use polling functions, you're going to use Mentimeter. If you love to do quizzes, use Kahoot, for example, provide the link. That would be your activity related to the assessment. If it were to be collaboration tool, then you are going to use Padlet, for example. So those are regarded as outside activities that you're going to incorporate back into your course. And not only that, you're supposed to conduct at least 2 assessments on Brighton's using the built-in quizzes, the assignments function, and you are allowed to do so as long as you are still adhering to the instructions or the guideline given by your college academic committee. Why? Because we understand that once we are already in the physical face-to-face environment, blended learning is there to complement. The idea is that the word we are using here to describe would be to complement, meaning whatever they're using, your tools in the classroom, that is regarded as a teaching aid. You're using your Padlet and you're going to um, broadcast it to the class, to the students via the projector. That is teaching aid. Is it going to be regarded as blended learning? The blended learning thing would be a combination of what you did in the classroom and then what you are doing with the materials online. So that is the justification that we need to seek when we want to understand fully what blended learning is. But you're going to compare, of course, with the substitute blended learning. So how is it going to be different? Substitute blended learning is part of blended learning, but it's replacing whatever activities you are conducting in the physical environment to online. So that is a distinct difference between substitute and that of the conventional blended learning we are practicing at UNITEN. So because of that, we have to really understand and establish this first, the principle, before moving into adopting the SPL. So we need to be ready by semester 1, 2023-2024, which is going to be soon enough arriving. This is the BL handbook. So for the BL handbook, it has been revised. Everything will be on Brighton. So let's take a quick look here. For the BL level 1, most of the academics are doing this. I saw or stumbled upon the course page, unfortunately, because we do some auditing as well, randomly checking an academic or a lecturer saying that they are doing flipped classroom, but there's no evidence saying that. So how am I going to check, or how are we going to audit this course page? Because there's no evidence presented at the as the course page material, or perhaps the activities embedded in the course. So here, most of us can easily reach up to providing the course outline is a yes, because this serves as the contract for the lecturers and the students to work on the whole semester, and also at least to provide the course notes and slides. So those are something that you have prepared and is easily just uploaded into folders or just as files. But remember, you need to be doing this systematically. And also you are providing the assessment questions as usual. And if you get more creative, you simply upload your lecture videos or importing from the YouTube, curate it to be part of the materials that you think is going to be fulfilling level 2. But the idea is that those are just materials, but there'll be no explanation following the YouTube videos. There'll be no instructions for the students or guided to follow that particular recorded MS Team videos. So we've got to be very careful here when it comes to the materials organized inside your course page. That would be signifying something reflecting that the activities have taken place, and provide a clear instruction at least that these will be the course guide. And for enhanced learning, please bear in mind you're not going to just simply put in or insert the link to your Kahoot quiz. Why? Because you need to provide some form of instructions. You remember that there'll be a place on Brighton that you can include the description. So we require that to enhance the students' understanding, because you know how students are. The students need to be guided, the students need to be instructed carefully so that they perform the activities in the right way as what we wish. And of course, we want them to engage with all the materials on course. So this is very critical. In order for you to get to blended learning level 2, you have to um, at least try to fulfill all this. All right. So this handbook will be given to you. Actually, I'm going to provide you with this generally slides later. So far, so good. It's supposed to be interactive. Everyone's okay? Let me see. Oh, you're just listening to stories, aren't you? Of course, this is BL casual chat. It's supposed to be relaxing. I'm not putting any pressure to you or on you, but it serves as a place for us to, I like the word demystify. There's something mystery about the BL implementation at UNITEN. You can see that ever since 2016, it has been like that. Nobody seeks to clear out the mystery or perhaps what is behind the definition. I want to get it clear. So that's what the functions of this BL Casual Chat series. So that's the purpose actually. Right. So if there's no question, let me go through the next one. Okay. So this is slide. Let's go. So what are the factors to consider when we integrate the technology into blended learning? So this is actually the principle. Just now it was serious because it has something to do with the definition. Now I'm going to go relax a bit and pose you some questions. Have I done this? Have I done that? Question one, what would be the available technologies? There are plenty, abundant. They are all there on the internet. It's just for us to seek which one is suitable for us to incorporate in our classroom. Why? Because whenever it comes to technology and tools, we have to spend extra time to learn first before giving it to the students to try. And in fact, the students too needs to learn the technology before coming to class. And some of the academics here and the lecturers, they make it um, like a habit. Every time that they introduce a tool, they're going to provide how to do it, what is the expectation in completing the assignments, etc. So this is, I think, it adds a bit of additional value to the practices that you have in your course. And number two, what would be the students' learning outcomes and types of assessments that you are doing? So this would have something to do about how you are going to manipulate it nicely for your students' experience. So let's look into this first one. Okay, so what are the purpose and learning outcomes? So when we talk about the purpose and learning outcomes, it has something to do with your course outlines for sure. And of course, it is something for you to identify and select which tool would be considered nicely integrated with your course objective. Say, for example, if you are doing or planning for essay writing, are you going to introduce something difficult in the first place? Are you going to just use a collaborative tool like Google Docs to provide the assignment? And sometimes Moodle-based plugins can be rather unattractive. Can I say that? It's not very nice to see as a plugin or perhaps activity type. You might want to invest in finding more solutions to that. But if you are teaching, for example, teaching essays, you might want to introduce, not genially, sorry, you are going to introduce Grammarly. For example, you're checking on the grammar, you are going to use the right tool for the right task. So that is something that is required when you want to link to the purpose and the learning outcomes so that it is something that hit to the objectives that you're going to deliver. So there must be something that is easily used and subscribed to. Preferably, you might want to find something which is free of license. It's easy for the students as well because when it comes to that, you're investing money. You need to do some subscription to the licensing. But rest assured that do something which is what you're comfortable with. And of course, how to cater for the accessibility and tackle the infrastructure. We have already our LMS. We have our Brighton to use. For this year, the technology that you are going to use would be the LMS. The LMS serves as a course repository, meaning it's a one-stop center for each and every time that your students would be referring to. Why? Because often that some of our lecturers, there are some still cases whereby they prefer to use Microsoft Teams and putting in all the assignments as well as the activities. They just do it on Microsoft Teams without having a proper course outline or perhaps the slides is not even there on the course page on Brighton. So this is quite alarming because it's going to pose a threat. Can I say that? A threat to the students. Why? Because the students would want to come back to your course page and they don't want to have a variety of platforms for them to learn and also keeping up to date with your assignments or perhaps your activities in class. Hence, that's the reason why we have Brighton it at the first place. And with Brighton, that means that it's easily accessible, yes. And of course, look into whether they have the right device. Because we're talking about blended learning, it's mostly we're talking about the online components. So how do we best possibly serve the online part of our lecture, our assignments, our assessments? So those are going to be considered in our um, lecture and part of the classroom management. And of course, reliable internet access. What more can I say? So reliable internet access is an interesting question because you might be thinking, um, yes, the internet is intermittent. So what can I do? But well, I'm not here to discuss on that. I'm talking about the internet ready devices your students are carrying. Um, let's, okay, I've got a big device here. This is a smartphone, but of course it's convenient, okay, to do work on a smartphone for me, but it's not going to be the same experience for the rest of the students because maybe they're still using the old Nokia. But I'm not saying that they can't afford, okay, a smart device. Most of our students lately, they come to class with an iPad. Where's my iPad? So that is the tablet that they are carrying. It is often equipped with the internet um, facility. But when it comes to hooking up to the internet in the classroom, that's a different story, isn't it? So bringing appropriate device, the readily available apps on their device, that is something for us to consider too. But rest assured, everything is about having the internet serving the principles. But there's one thing that we need to be considering as well for the factors that we want to find out, the pedagogy. So what would be the pedagogy that we'll be using? On top of what we have practiced so far for physical classroom, we interact with the students face to face and we are so keen and it's almost natural for us to act in the classroom doing certain procedures. Okay, the steps are almost automatic. Coming to class, okay, today I'm going to be teaching you on this topic, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm going to outline the objectives. At the end of the class, we are going to have to look into this being met. I'm going to wrap up the whole lecture today, and that is something that we follow all the time. That is indeed a pedagogy. Okay, name it with anything, constructivism, connectivism, behaviorism. Those comes with names, but we are not here to learn so much of that. I'm not saying that it's not interesting, it's not important, it is important. But as lecturers of UNITEN, most of us, we do not have any formal background in education. Like myself, I don't have any, but we have to take up something like a chance, at least to understand the students' behavior, how we can propose the use of the technology in the classroom. We have to invest some time. Yes, it's going to take a few minutes or perhaps hours, but it is considered as a good investment for the future. For, for the pedagogy itself, you're going to use the technology which is suitable to you. That's the most important thing. And only that you're going to use it effectively. What matters most here is the selection of the tool. Are you going to ask yourself? Now I'm going to ask you, are you comfortable? Okay, let's find out. Yes. Okay. How many of you, I'm asking, how many of you today are very comfortable with using the Brighton cost page? Can I have a show of hand? Raise your hand. Comfortable. Okay. From a scale of 1 till 10, how comfortable are you with the Brighton cost page? Okay. We have one Ida saying 6. 6 out of 10, yeah? Wow. How about the rest? Okay. Maybe you want to utilize the chat. Oh, you love it, Miss Azlina. You love the cost page so much. But what of the skill? Skill. From 1 till 10, how much do you love your Brighton course page? I'm instilling some, passion into your course page. Love yourself first. That's what they do. Love your course page, and then we're going to talk about the BL tools. Good. Puan Iza Amira says 8. Miss Azlina saying 7. Okay, so much of love. And Miss Siti Nusara says 7. How can I get you to get to 10? To love your course speech. So that is my mission. Okay, it has not been accomplished, and I've got little time to do that. But how about the rest? We have Prof. Datuk Salina here. Datuk, how much do you love your course speech? If you want to share, let's make this, it's a sharing experience anyway. Let's see. Major Zain, you are here. How do you love your course speech? What's the scale from 1 to 10? Still have time. Anyone else? Just unmute yourself. Nothing to worry about. Mr. Aiman. Okay. Does that mean that you do not love yourself? Does that mean you do not love your course speech enough? Okay. So we're going to do something about that. Okay. At the TLC level, we are trying to find out how best can we do that. Right. Never mind. I'm here to guide you on how to love yourself more with your course speech presence. Okay. Next, let's try to find out enough about loving the car speech and how much do you want to invest in the technology. You know that to a certain extent, some of our lecturers, they are very kind-hearted. They want to explore a technology or perhaps a tool. See, for example, the latest chat GPT that needs subscription is just $20 per month. Uh, I believe some of you might go to an extent to subscribe to that because you find it's interesting to explore and also catch the students whether or not they are going to copy paste their assignments using the chat GPT. That's interesting. You are at the learning path. So the same case for the students. The first time they are looking at Padlet, ma'am, how do you do this? Where can I post my things, my post, my thoughts? Where can I post it? Oh, you just can click on the add button right at the bottom there. So you have to teach them. You've got to prepare them, and that's it. It comes with some time investment, and also you need to have a clear guidance for them to use. And okay, not only money, but also on how the expectations of considering the tools would be to manage the students' feedback. Okay, so because it's already 10th of March, so that means we are in the middle of somewhere. Of course, tomorrow is the starting of our semester break. I believe most of you have already conducted your first test or perhaps your midterm and successfully written all the feedback to your student. So how much do you think it is efficient to do that? But because of certain instructions coming from the college academic committee, we have to perform or conduct the test face to face. It's just fine. When it comes to feedback, ensure that you do it sparingly. Okay, do not sit there. Okay, I publish your carry mark, but later on, is it going to be discussed? Do you take some time to discuss in the class? Or perhaps you don't have time. And not returning a pile of the student's paper until the end of the semester. So that is something which is wrong when it comes to the expectations of student feedback. It must be written in a timely manner. And the best way to do that is offering teaching and learning activities on Brighton or perhaps using other tools. Why? Because it's instantaneous as well as it's going to be recorded. So that's the best thing that you can do with online components. So that is BL in action. And of course, regular feedback and assessment. you can also see the students' learning experience. How do they progress across the time for the rest of the semester? From week one, do they develop some understanding? Do some pop quiz, and then get to week number 10, right before the final. You can do this efficiently, only if you know which tool to consider. Okay, for learning activities, they might just um, provide the scaffolding, or perhaps they provide somewhat like a support. Okay, support the students to understand further, because you need to put in some instructions in order for you to do this, calculate this and that. So there'll be some formulas for you to follow, and then you're going to get this kind of answers. So that's guided tutorial ways are better with that. But when it comes to having to see the development of your students, how do they develop across your course throughout the semester? You are seeing growth. So that is learning that takes place. And of course, this has something to do with the factors of managing your integration with the technology. And to answer that, we know we are prepared with this, but let me just use whatever that UNITEN has subscribed to and prepared you to use. And of course, for the Brighton learning management system, we are going to see that we have this kind of prepared course, something like that. Okay, this is for you to use. It's already there. And of course, educational apps like Mentimeter. So wondering how you want to get your feedback instantaneously. You can do this almost in a split second. Say, for example, did you know that yesterday was a difficult topic? I believe I want to collect all your responses to that topic that we have discussed yesterday. How about using polls? So that is kind of powerful, knowing to get the reflection from the students, or perhaps the understanding. So this is something that is worth to do. Word salad, because sometimes they are very, very um, less motivated, and of course they want to, it's very hard to get them to try to participate in your course. So the only thing is that to leave them anonymous. So when they're anonymous, they have the guts to post and try to to be natural as they can be, because without knowing who posted this and that is posting materials, or perhaps their thoughts over something serious as a reflection, it doesn't do harm much. If we know them, then we start to target them. Oh, you said that you did not know how to derive this equation, for example. So we tend to just have that personal interaction, so they will become somehow less motivated to participate in the next session. That is one. Are we subscribed to Mentimeter? Yes, but as for now, it's not enjoyed by most of our academics, because we have a limited license. They say it's organizational license, but we only have a few. Video conferencing tools like MS Teams, that is for synchronous. So we need to talk about being synchronous, meaning like now it is synchronous. So this is part of the online component, part of the substitute blended learning, yes. But the tools would be to deliver the lecture and also provide interactiveness, okay? But we also have the Panopto video management system. We have been subscribed to this Panopto. We can record our videos, record our tutorials. I've been seeing a lot of interactions, a lot of activities and videos on Panopto lately. So this is because of the increasing awareness across the academics, across UNITEN. So kudos to everyone who make use of Panopto. You can use this for asynchronous, and not only that, Panopto can also enable quizzes. They can also put in after certain topics, and then there'll be some session, or you can just slot in some quiz inside there. Some quizzes, meaning multiple choice question, short question. And that is kind of powerful, because you want the students to learn certain materials and then give them a halt, a stop, and try to find out whether they understand that particular topic. Number four, interactive whiteboards like MS Whiteboard. We do this in Microsoft Teams, and also Google Jamboard is colorful if compared to whiteboard. In terms of convenience, I prefer Jamboard. So this is like a posting of sticky notes for them to generate ideas, brainstorming. It's good. Just spend like 5 to 20 minutes, right? Coming back to the idea, how can I incorporate this into my course page? Select the right tool. Next, virtual and augmented reality. You can use Merge Cube. You are looking for something which is less expensive and also co-species edu. So that means you're going to provide, not provide, you can use this platform easily. Students can also develop their own material. Say, for example, I have a mouse, and then I have to just capture the edges, the pictures, and then upload it to the platform. And if you have a QR code generated, and then you can see the picture of a mouse. So as simple as that. So this is what the Merge Cube can do. And I haven't actually explored this fully on my course, but I plan to go to my lab and then try to capture the images of my routers and switches and later on put it on Brighton. So this is fun if you can have some time to explore. Why don't you use your time during this special semester if you're not teaching? And of course, you can do podcasts like Anchor. So podcasts, other than Spotify, of course, we are keen to watch our students face to face all the time. But some students, they love to hear your voice. So this is how you benefit your podcast. Okay, so only this topic, something like reading, perhaps I think it's good or preferably for language class. When it comes to public speaking, perhaps you want to take something on articulation and how to pronounce this and that. So that is podcast. So it's powerful depending on the selection of tools. And now, number 7, online collaboration tools like Google Workspace or for education, Google Docs, Slides, etc. They can provide integrations of ideas in the class. So this is good, but students need to know how to use it. So that's very critical. There's always something about the disadvantages with the fancy BL tools and technology. And also, number 8, gamification. I believe I understand that most of you are acquainted with, familiar, okay, no longer acquainted. The use of word here is important, familiar with Kahoot and also quizzes or perhaps Edpuzzle, Edmodo, blah, blah, blah. So those are coming in to provide a sense of gaming. Even generally, we do have gaming. I'm sure Mentimeter can do that too. But each apps, they are tailored towards certain learning objectives. If you want to use assessment in a good way or something which is motivating the students to be engaged more, then you can use gamification like Kahoot. They love this kind of games, okay? And they remember seeing the podium. I was there once. So that is creating moments in your classroom. Number 9, social media like Facebook and TikTok. So I'm not into TikTok yet. I'm not planning to do so in the nearest time. Facebooking, I already found some lecturer putting all the resources and materials. They interact over Facebook. Yes, you can. You just provide the link onto your course page, but never leaving your course page as the main material for them to refer to. So often, do not stray away from the Brighton LMS because you want to accommodate the BL tools. So this is something wrong about the concept in the first place. Why in the first place we have the LMS? Last but not least, ebooks. You can use this. I believe some of the lecturers are using ebooks when it comes to the textbook materials. So they have this at the course page, can actually incorporate that. So when we talk about these activities that we can consider, let me just bring you to the course page. For example, this is okay. So this is the window where you can see the activity we have accomplished. 7 weeks for this semester, and how much have you done for the semester and collected on the course page. So pretty much that you can see we can use assignment. Okay, I have 2 assignments, the built-in assignment and the recent one, which is assignment 1. You can always check on that. And of course, remember when we say that sometimes we use the built-in functions, we can also use something from outside. So we can use external tool. So external tools is found on some of these particular websites or perhaps the apps. So I'm using Padlet as the external tool. So it brings the Padlet via certain API or application protocol interface. You may not need to know all this, but it's going to be guided. So you need to invest some time too. All right. What else can you do? You can provide forums, but forums is not so popular. Why? Because this is something about you want to discuss with your students, post a topic. Perhaps you want to encourage them to talk about um, a certain theory or how do they come to or arrive to certain conclusion or solution. So the discussion is in a form of digest. It's like sending an email every time that you have a response. But these forums are going to be um, taking some time for you to manage. So I do not actually encourage you to do this unless it's critical for the nature of the course. Essays, public speaking, perhaps anything else related to interactions with the students that you need more, so you use your forums. And then you can also use lesson for our adaptive learning is part of the tools. Okay, that is a different topic. I'm not going to touch on that. So say for example, if I click lesson, that's one lesson, and that is in week one particularly. So how much you're going to use this is up to you to tailor towards your learning objective. So that is in for particular reason, you might want to align them to your course objectives. Quizzes. So how much can you put in? So there'll be some weekly quiz. So they'll be put in perhaps weekly, perhaps monthly basis. Up to you. You can do a DIY quiz, but still not going to incorporate in the carry marks. It's up to you. Okay, so those are something. But of course, I'm going to do some mock thingy with you as we go along. Let's turn this thing on. Okay, after all, my students have perhaps they have gone home. Okay. Add an activity or resource. It's as simple as that. Something happens. Too much activity, perhaps? No. Okay, so hopefully you can see this. There are so much of activities that you can put in. Preferably put all, or perhaps just filter them across as activities. Then assessment, previously known as quiz. Okay, add this. Put in multiple choice question. You have your short answer. You have your close. Fill in the blanks, or you can have short questions calculated, and is very, very much resourceful when it comes to the quiz type. Assignment, straightforward, provide a document, do this, and then I expect your submission. And of course, I don't do attendance. You can chat with your students, but I chat using Telegram. So I have a different channel. What else? Okay. Checklist. If you want them to read books, for example, or articles from the internet, you can use checklists. So this is quite powerful. Everything is from Brighton. So it's accessible. Use choice. Choice is for something like kind of survey thingy, but I don't use it regularly. I straight away use the assessment. You can actually do a custom certificate if you want to, a database if you want them to collect all information and manage like a Wikipedia. External tool, the one that I mentioned just now, to take all the APIs from a Padlet, for example, and then it gets there. Feedback. Feedback is you post a question, let the students to interact with you or post their thoughts. So you can use this. That's how different they are. How about feedback and forum? How are they different? How to distinguish them? A forum works as a digest. It looks like they are updating um, that particular comments or thoughts or posts from your students and then direct to their emails. So this is forum. Lots of games that you can see. Yes, you can create one. But I believe I did this for I think 3 years ago. I have to first develop a glossary function, because when I'm teaching data communication and network, so you have lots of jargons or perhaps abbreviations, for example. So from one week to another, you simply collect all these jargons, the terms, the words, and then you can easily create the game using crossword, perhaps using cryptex. You just need to explore. Okay, it's pretty much exhaustive here a lot. Um, there was one time ago we conducted a H5P, so this is also a tool which is nice to see. You can check on that. A hot pot, okay, hot potato actually. So this is also nice to venture into interactive content. So this is not lesson, yeah, lesson is something else. The interactive content is something that you wish to build on. You put in some notification for them to focus on. So this is something else. If in doubt, always check on the information. So it's going to just put in some information about that. So say for example, I have a picture. So I put in all small dots there for them to put in the definition. Say for example, a picture of a device. Okay, label this and there, so you can ask the students to do that. So it's interactive. Okay, what else? Lesson, label is something else. Okay, so that was for all, yeah. Actually there are many, but it's up to you to explore further. And of course, remember we're talking about integrating tools into course page. So we are going to use URL. So that means you just put here, copy paste that, and then you just put it on the, say for example, I'm just gonna use URL. So you're just gonna name it, and then you just simply paste it here. Yes? Okay, so as easy as that, you can already link the materials from our site into your Brighton. So that is what we want to promote here. Use your Brighton as the first stop for the students to find out about the resources, and then they are going to get away from your course page. Not really get away, but they are going to be redirected to the source that you are pointing to. Right. So I don't plan to add that to my course. So that's about all about the readily available information. So perhaps I'm going to go through what I have. So it's just generally, I just put a creative Telegram picture up to you, and then just post things. This is what I said about reaching level 1. Provide the course outline, provide the class plan, how you wish to conduct your class, and then often that you're going to just do some ice breaking, introduce Padlet, for example, and then you have samples provided, and remember to post your carry marks as well. And this is how it looks like for my week 1. So I introduced some of the information, what is to be expected for week 1. And then I'm going to put in the videos, curate. The word is curate the videos from YouTube, and in, try to put it in as a HTML code. So you edit this page, put in the pictures of yours, and then you're going to see that there's something here. But actually, if I get back to here, okay, so let me just fast forward here. What can you do? How do I integrate the tools to Brighton? The ways to do things would be adding URL, the one that I've already touched on, embedding HTML code. So you use that. I think most of you have done this. Here, you can always extend this particular function buttons, and you're going to see Panopto is already there, so you can always click on Panopto. The one that I said about HTML code is this one. So you're going to change it, the representation, the view to HTML. So don't worry if you see this for the first time. Okay, this is HTML coding is setting here and there, configure here. So it's mostly the codes that you are playing with. But don't worry, if you have it from somewhere else, you just copy. And then if you're unsure, just put it right below where you can find some white space. So you just paste it there. And then you're going to just uncheck this, and then it's going to turn up to be the one that you have acquired from the web page. So this is from YouTube. So that is how you can get all your information there, and how to integrate that using external function tool, and also using some plugins. So I don't really encourage you to do something suddenly, but of course, do something which is familiar to you and of convenience. Okay, so I don't require too much of a high level of expectation for you to explore this and that. Just in order for us to achieve level 2, be creative and put in wherever that you think is going to be suitable for the students to learn. Right. So that is week 1. What about week 1? I have videos to share with the students. Is this materials? Yes. And of course, when it comes to that, slides. The slides are given at every week. And of course, I have some enrichment activity. And this is Mentimeter. So that means that is 1. I have some lesson number, and then I have quiz. So that's number 3, assessment. So that means within week 1, I have already introduced some of the materials critical for a course page to be regarded as a BL level 2. After all, our talk today is more on how to achieve BL2 and how to upgrade yourself. If you haven't done so, this is the way, okay, of doing things. And see, for week 2, you can start to provide variety. Often you have to get somewhat like an outline, materials, the course slides, activities, and then you end it with assessment. It's up to you really, and on how to organize this. Okay, I love YouTube videos. Sometimes I do asynchronous. Today, in week 2, I've already started Padlet. So that means I'm putting in as a HTML code here, not the direct external. And this is interactive image. You can use the interactive from Brighton, or you can use Genially. So it's also something that you can venture into. I believe this is quite cool because you can always get the students to check every time they have this. Remember, sometimes during the semester, you might be away for a conference, or you may be sick. And of course, you want to provide the students with some complimentary videos. So the videos, this one is a recap actually, because I have discussed this in class, and then I want to stress or emphasize on this lecture topic. So this is provided as asynchronous session. So this is on Panopto. So what I did is just to edit setting. Where can I get my Panopto? Just simply push this button. Click on this button, Panopto, and then it's going to be this one. Okay, it's linked. It's linked actually. Okay, I'm not sure whether you can see this window because I'm pointing to a different window. So you're going to see a list of videos. So if you're unsure, you can always check on everything, everything. So you can check on the videos there, right? So you can check from there. Click. Don't put this into my course page. Just click and then insert. All right. So that is how you do your integration. Pulling it into your course page is very critical. You just need a few minutes to do that. I think it's a better reasoning for you to be motivated, at least to get all your stuffs onto your course page. Right, so let me just abandon this. What else? A lot. Interactivity. Um, Sometimes you want the students to just watch it. You can just use this as well. You can provide worksheets if you want to. And also don't forget to also prepare the guideline for them, because you need to be clear when it comes to giving instruction. And it may become like a self-instructional module, but I do not require you to be so thorough with the guideline. You just provide what is enough and sufficient for the student to follow. So instruction set is a must if you want them to venture or to study themselves. So this is outside of the classroom, and here BL is going to be powerful enough to complement whatever that you have taught in the classroom, and then the material that you provided that is necessary for them to learn and enhance their understanding. Hence, enhance materials or enhance learning. Okay, how you do it? Asynchronous session. You're supposed to see videos here. So I made lots of videos this semester because I'm missing a lot of Mondays. Okay, but just remember when you do that, always recap during the next class. Never leave your students without proper direction of what the videos are all about. Don't forget to discuss the key takeaways from the videos. That is regarding the materials, right? So let's get back to this. Let me just turn this off. I'm not just simply saying I into all these activities. I also import other activities into the course page. So that's how you make it interesting, right? So where was I? I was here. And how do I prepare my Brighton course page? Of course, remember, you have already fulfilled level 1. And of course, this one, how do I identify, select the appropriate tools? I've already talked about this. You can always justify what is the thing that you want the students to consider. So use which one? I've already touched this on Brighton just now. Integrate tools, how, the many hows. And this is the important question of all before we break and adjourn our BL Casual Chat series. How much tools is considered too much, or is it going to be less? So there's no hard and fast rule for this, unless you're thinking that is too little. It's up to you. But one thing for sure, students do not like something which is overwhelming. Students, you need to do this, you need to watch these videos, you need to do this assessment at the end. No, it is of you tailoring your course materials for them to learn, tailoring or adjusting to their needs according to the learning outcome. Too much of the materials is going to kill your students. So this is something that they're going to dislike. Preference, easy to use, convenience. Those are the magic words that we might want to think about when it comes to enhanced learning. So I believe we still have 5 minutes to open the session for Q&A. So is there any question from the floor, or is it in the chat? Let me see. It's okay. Okay, thank you, Datu Salina. It's okay. Teaching and Learning Center, please fill in an evaluation form as usual. So I hope that it has achieved what we want for the BL Casual Chat to tackle the problems of not understanding what BL Level 2 is, the misconception. So I hope that I demystify the term enhanced learning. Everyone should be at the right level, BL Level 2, unless you are doing your lab courses. I do not require you to get to this level. No Padlet, no Mentimeter, no need. You just need to upload your course slides, upload your lab manuals, upload your tutorial worksheets. Those would be sufficient. If you are doing projects, I will require you to update your course page, of course, with the course outline, the instruction of doing the project, a proposal, progress reports, those should be in the pipeline. If you are doing ULEAD or you are doing Shield courses, I'm expecting you to at least upload your course page, upload your activities. I do not require BL tools because you are not actually required to do BL level 2. What else? If you are doing IT, industrial training, no, you don't have to use Padlet, etc. So that is nonsense, isn't it? Unless you have class activities, course page. The normal course page will be like what I have and what you have perhaps, and that would be incorporating all these PL tools and technology. Use wisely, whatever it is, make sure it's convenient to the student. But often you can see lately at UNITEN, we always have problems with perhaps connectivity, projector is not turned on properly. But those are the things that we can least expect when we have the materials on Brighton. So come prepared. Should you have any questions, forward your questions to us, okay, at the chat below there, or just feel free to unmute yourself for the next 2 minutes before we adjourn our BL Casual. Do you have any question? Just like a normal lecture, isn't it? So I've already started with the objectives, I've explained to you, and then we have the summary, and then we are going to ask. Provide room for the participants to ask. Do you have any question pertaining to still thinking, have I reached BL level 2? So that is the question today. Pose to yourself. Do I have all the materials regarded as BL level 2? That is the question you should be asking yourself today. What else? Is it enough for me to put in all these materials onto my Brighton car speech? Those are the things and thoughts that you need to ask yourself. So I hope that you have been enjoying our session today, and let's hope together that everyone understands enhanced learning. We are on the same page. Okay. So hopefully, if you want to get the guide, you can always get it there. I'm going to post my January, okay, onto the chat so that you can refer to it from time to time. So thank you very much for joining us. If you don't have any questions, so don't forget to fill in the evaluation form. Until then, we have plenty of workshops organized when the semester reopens after the semester break. So the first one will be on the SBL 101 for Introduction to Substitute Blended Learning, and then how do I implement in my course. But of course, when you want to use your substitute blended learning, you have to actually settle at enhanced learning first, because it's going to take it from there and we can explore further on the online component. So it's 11:30. Thank you for enjoying and participating. Happy semester break, everyone. Happy grading. Don't forget to return the assignment feedback. And of course, we'll see you again after the semester break. Thank you. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and have a nice Friday.